Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Backcast, our YouTube podcast thingy where we talk about the games we like to play as we continue our journey to play everything ever. I'm Dan.
All the things.
And this is Joe.
I'm Joe.
Hey, Joe.
As always.
Kind of fumbled on the intro there. I apologize.
Sorry to step on your introduction.
No, it was a bad introduction, and it deserved to be stepped on.
You're bad, and you should feel bad.
It wasn't a don't tread on me sort of intro. It was a go ahead and tread on me. Kind of masochistic.
Fair enough.
But we're off topic right from the beginning.
Hey, it's how we do.
It's how we do. We free flow. You don't like our rhymes? Then
Mom spaghetti. Sweater already.
Okay, now people are tuned out already. Thanks. That's just whoa. Believe it or not, this week we're gonna kind of try and keep it shorter because we want to get back into a better rhythm of recording stuff, and we got a couple things and time remains limited. That's our issue.
Time remains limited. We have to. We are realizing we have to be more on top of it.
Punctual. Anyway,
punctualities and efficiency of time.
But
usage.
this is not a sausage making sort of thing, so we're not going to get into that too deeply. We're gonna under promise and over deliver.
Sausage.
I hope. Oh, I could go for some sausage.
Some sausage, man. So good.
Anyhow,
what would you like to talk about, Dan?
Let's talk about
what have you been playing?
Some non-Monster Hunter things.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
If you're tired of Monster Hunter, don't worry, we'll get there.
We'll get there. We should start doing time codes for that so people could skip ahead.
This is the if you just want Monster Hunter,
instead of a spoiler warning, it's just the Anjanath roar that says
Monster Hunter time.
Is that like isopod time? Have you seen that?
Isopod time?
All right. Isopod time. Just type it into Google, see what you get.
Okay, cool.
One of my Zen kind of recentering type games. That's maybe overselling it. I just want to eat a lot of time, but don't want to think too much, but I still want to be absorbed by something.
Okay.
City builders.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Cities Skyline. I picked up and put about 20 hours into it.
Wow.
Previously, not this weekend.
Oh, I was going to say. Whoa.
But in the last 2 days, I've put about 6.
Hey, man.
Just one of those, we all got to do what we got to do.
Is this new?
No, it's a couple of years old. Like I said, I put 20 hours into it
previously,
2 years ago, maybe.
It's been a bit. It's a bit.
But it's if you remember,
is it just on phone or?
It's not a phone. It's a PC game.
Oh, Cities. Oh, my bad. When I think builder, I think phone game, like a city builder, because that's where I have played. I don't really do the builders that much, but when I do, it's a mobile thing.
That's weird, but okay.
So I downloaded a Jurassic Park one forever ago.
Gotcha.
And there's a new one coming out, which I'm really excited about.
I think we talked about that.
We did on a different on another Backcast before, but yeah. So. Sorry, I didn't mean to assume your platform.
You're right. It's okay. We'll forgive you this time.
Okay, fair enough.
You apologized, and as long as you pay reparations, we'll be okay.
Oh man, I always get you with those reparations.
Heck yes. So it came out around the same time that SimCity did, the new one that was terrible, and said, "Oh, well, we're going to limit your city building size, how much city you can build, and we have to render the cityscape in the cloud because your PC can't handle all the mad city that is."
Wow.
That's what SimCity did, and people objectively proved that to be false immediately because, hey, don't give the internet a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like saying, hey, here's my hidden flag. It's somewhere in the world. Can you find it? And 4chan going, yeah, we can. Give us a day. That's a kind of a deep cut, I guess. The Cities Skyline came out immediately after it, and everybody went, you see, EA, this is how you make a city builder. Same basic kind of concept. You start from basically, you have a freeway off-ramp that leads into your plot of land, and then you start building. And so you do streets, you set the streets, and they've actually recently updated it, so there's lots of grid tools, so you can have as even and straight 90-degree angles and things like that, and make your nice square city blocks. But terrain and other things makes that not always ideal. So you kind of have to work around that. And it's good about helping you deal with that, in fact, because you don't build houses, you just zone for houses. And as property demand is high, houses will will just start rising out of the ground and get built there.
Interesting. Okay.
And as you do that, there'll be demand for certain types of jobs. We want industrial. We want, they kind of put industrial and office into one, but you don't have access to office till kind of later in your scale.
It's like a bigger, it's like a more macro scale.
It is more macro.
Oh, okay.
But you do have to make sure you're pumping water into and out of the city, and that you're not pumping out upstream of where you're pumping in.
Oh, interesting.
But you do so your city critical buildings, like your fire departments, your police stations, your hospitals, and your just regular clinics, you're placing those. But everything else you're zoning. And it's actually really easy where you're like, I really need to put a hospital right here, but there's a bunch of houses. Whatever, eminent domain. You click, it just deletes all the houses, and that's just there.
Right on.
I say to myself, eminent domain every time I click.
It's my mantra.
Yes. Welcome to Astora. Eminent domain.
That's how I don't feel guilty about what I'm doing.
Look, man, city ain't gonna run itself.
No, is there something different about? As far as it's not just these. It's not just more macro, right? Is it? Does it do anything different as far as I
don't know. I've never actually played a SimCity.
Oh, okay.
I just saw a lot of footage of the one versus the other, and I went, "Oh, that Cities XL looks good." There's all sorts of. They've added layers and things where the management comes in is if you really want to, you can manage traffic flow, so you can see a heat map of where traffic is the worst and try and build to.
Wow. Okay.
I actually
honestly I've never played. I don't think I've ever played a sim like that. Or a builder like that.
I don't want to make any promises.
Mine's been more of the mobile style.
Maybe we'll
put this thing here and then come back in 5 minutes and tap on it to
no.
the money.
I need to show you the beauty of one of these proper city builders where you have a podcast or an audio book and you're really listening more to that while kind of managing the global of what's going on in your city.
I've never played a SimCity either. I don't think.
Well, maybe we'll do City Builder Saturdays or something, and I'll just take you through my city and kind of, or maybe we'll start you off.
We start one. We do what we start one and see how that goes.
But it's fascinating how it eats the time, even though I've got the speed sped up to max, and they added something like Birder or something like that. It's there's a Twitter thing that's basically, it's a lot of inane people just being like, oh, I love how clean our city is. It's so clean energy.
That's so
and
dumb.
they over hashtag everything.
So dumb.
But at the same time, you'll have people be like, hey, so what do you do when people won't come to pick up the dead bodies? And then you're like, oh, my coverage of my cemeteries and my crematoriums is not great. I need to figure this out.
That's a weird way to do that. That's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool, but you mostly just ignore it and just look for the icons on the map. Because when a dead body's been sitting there, it'll be like a little bubble that's got a face with X's on the eyes. And then when it's been there too long, it turns red. Also people being like, seriously, what's with this power situation? You're like, what? I have plenty of power. Oh, wait, no, I build 8 new city blocks. I'm probably low on power. And as you progress, as you hit certain city size, it unlocks new options. And also, the thing I do love about this is you can stay in your plot and kind of make it better and just kind of evolve it and be like, I'm going to make this more efficient. But every once in a while, I'll be like, hey, if you want to buy more land, so you're on a square that's got a dotted line around it. And then also it'll occasionally remind you can buy new plots of land surrounding it. So you can just I'm just going to build an industrial district. Buy, open up a new area, and just start zoning industrial out into that. So it kind of has that organic real city feel with just kind of, we started with regular housing, but now that's all now not retro, but what do you call it? Not historical, but basically these houses have been here forever. We're not going to tear it down in favor of better housing. We're just going to buy more land. The city grows, and it's all city, very, very more urban, and you're building more high rises and things like that. And then you also unlock special things like a science, like an expo center and a science something. I forget what they call it. But basically more tourist trappy type things, and tourism raises income in your city. You can. And this is where it loses me. I'll admit, it loses me. I'm just whatever. I grew up in California. Everybody drives, but you can design metro systems, bus stops, and you actually have to set the routes that the buses go. So I kind of did a couple of buses. So for my initial city center, there's a loop around through the housing that also runs by all the schools. because you have to have education.
Yeah, I mean,
I've
never really thought that much about the building sims, and this seems weirdly intriguing.
Yeah,
there's an intriguing nature to it. Like how deep does the rabbit hole go?
It goes pretty deep. You can do metro stations, and you have to connect the metro stations.
I'm thinking wow, I wonder.
You can do shipping and trains, and you can set up a train route, and you can engage with.
And how necessary is that engagement? Like, do you have to do that with a lot? Like, are there aspects of this, like, say, maybe I don't like to manage the sewer stuff that much.
The sewer stuff is actually really easy. You run.
I mean, it's just an example. I'm not worried about sewer itself.
The only thing,
is there a way to just like set that up to automate itself?
It doesn't automate.
Okay.
You can. I haven't. Like I said, I've done those 2 bus routes. Like, okay, we're gonna get from the housing.
You kind of have to manage everything.
No, I mean you do have to, but I don't. I haven't really done any of the mass transit stuff. And if I did, maybe I can actually make public transit free, which will then encourage people to use it as opposed to driving, which will then ease up on my traffic. And I've got some bright red spots on my city. I should probably do
traffic
that.
heat maps and stuff does sound pretty interesting.
Well,
that sounds cool. Like, I mean, does it get like into like internet service providing and stuff like that? It's not that micro.
No, it's not that micro.
Oh, okay.
But basically, you have to make sure you have electricity, water.
I bet that exists though. There's probably a game that has all of that weirdness as well.
There's a bunch of mods as well. People have not only.
Oh, fair point.
And people say I don't like.
Sport's always great.
And it's since it's on Steam,
it's easy. Yeah.
It's super easy. I downloaded initially. And I ended up not really using it, but people are like, I hate the way this thing works. Also, your garbage. You have to have landfills and things like that. Or, what do you call it? The things that just burn the garbage instead.
Can I advance enough to just shoot it all into the sun?
Nah, I haven't got there yet.
Right on.
There's no sun slingshot. If there was, I would have been, guys, you got to play this game. There's a slingshot to the sun.
It's how you get rid of your garbage.
Right? Well, but it also adds pollution. And also makes your area less desirable.
Right.
And so you have to build like parks and stuff to make houses upgrade, and therefore they're better, which was amazing. Actually, at one point I was looking through my not my tax code stuff, but there's not decrees. I'm thinking of older games, but basically there's a tab that you're like, okay, how do you want to make this easier on people, or do you want to give tax cuts for this? I actually legalized marijuana in my city,
congratulations!
Which I had to have a slightly better police presence, but it also decreases crime and increases tourism moderately.
The subtle politics of city builders.
Right? You're just like, okay. Like, they don't want to... Like, here's the thing is they do also lean heavy towards... hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. So I found a tab that says basically the upkeep for houses will go up for me personally, but I can incentivize people to use more high-tech smart homes. I clicked that button, and my map just all of a sudden started dinging as everybody upgrades their houses. This wave of upgrades, and it was amazing.
That's great.
But there is none of these games are super realistic, but there is this kind of idealistic kind of, it's set slightly in the future. So they're like, oh yeah, solar power and wind power is totally enough to power your city. Like, that's not true yet. That's
important.
That doesn't sustain.
Dan.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the second
to utopian ideals involved.
It really is. But the second to max upgrade is a solar power station. And it's like, oh yeah, and it's got enough batteries, it totally will power the city at night as well. So you're totally good. And it produces a ridiculous amount of electricity.
Interesting.
I tried building a hydroelectric dam, which was producing good electricity, but unfortunately the way it backed up, it actually flooded about 6 city blocks. The water rose, and I'm like, ooh, bad idea, delete. We're just going to bulldoze that dam.
I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen.
And so for I think in game time it was about 4 months, people are like, we're flooded. I flooded the industrial section, so oops. The water receded, everything was fine.
So is is the loop just like the time it takes to get to the next upgrade? Like, is that kind of how this works? Or is it pretty, it sounds like you're making it like pretty autopilot.
It like I said, you're focusing more on what you're listening to.
Your second screening.
Oh, hardcore.
Hard second screening.
It's, you want to listen to something that, you don't demand.
Which is great.
You don't want to do something that demands all of your focus. Like, I'm not going to be watching something that's, say, with subtitles.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But it's something that still I find interesting that I can kind of occasionally turn my attention away from. And then, I don't know, the loop is kind of trying to make things better and then expanding and then maintaining that your city is profitable. You can actually take out loans
Okay.
But they also take a chunk of your money, chunk of your income to pay it back, or you hit a certain point that if you can pay it off, you can just click the button, pay it off immediately, and lose interest.
Like 4X and like elements to it?
No,
or
it's just build the city.
Just purely building. There's no like politics and factions.
You're done when
you're
done when you decide you're done.
Cool.
It's super chill. I do love it. But going back to workshop support, people have even built regions that look like actual real world places. Like I've seen maps for like San Francisco, Prague, Washington D.C. People have actually gone and looked at maps and built in the editor the maps of these places. So you're like, I'm going to build this how I would.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense. Like I understand why people.
You're not going to be like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever. You're like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, right on.
They have like reskinning options for some of this, like mod stuff.
They also sell a ridiculous amount of packs that add more stuff. Since you're not you're not selecting the buildings.
I was wondering, like, could you like totally change it into some other like copyrighted, like maybe suddenly you want it to look like Harry Potter town.
I think if you want to spend the time, there's I saw there's an achievement for doing something like that, for changing assets up. And since there's workshop support, yes. Would I? No. If somebody that rebuilt it into like, well, I mean, somebody turned it into
I'm a sucker for like themed, whatever. Like if I could make it a Jurassic Park, I totally would, or a Star Wars,
like the Infinity miniature game skin.
Sure,
I would be. That would be cool. That would be super cool.
Super cool. Like because that like is a really cool setting, and
like
to be able to build in,
it's more immersive that way. Because
maybe I'm just like, this is me just like fantasying about like city builders in general.
No, that's cool.
I don't obviously having no experience with Skyline or anything really for that matter. I have I don't know. It kind of makes it a pipe dream-esque, like, oh man, I could get into some city building if it were,
if you want to delve into the workshop
correctly, like themed.
Yeah. appropriately themed. Yeah, don't do 40K. It's just miserable.
Oh, yeah.
It's just misery.
It's just the same level for like 12 hours.
I meant with the bleakness of the setting, not the bleakness of the level design. But sure, go ahead and do that callback.
Oh, man, it felt right.
No, it was appropriate.
It felt right.
7 out of 10 would set that joke up again.
Oh man, good times.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing.
That's what you've been doing. Right on. I mean,
and loving it.
That sounds cool.
I'm probably going to do that some more today because I'm not done. And I find myself looking at the next piece of land I'm going to purchase and be like, oh, if I do that, I could expand out this. And then this region. And there's even like districting things, so you can set different rules for different districts to encourage different kind of development. Anyway.
Interesting.
We'll have to do so. We'll have to have maybe I'll have you show you my city to see what the end game looks like and see. Sorry, I should say off camera. Not going to film that and see if you're interested in maybe seeing where it goes.
Sure. Yeah, we can look at doing something.
Get you in your first.
Get me into the sim life.
And seeing as I've put in like 6 hours and I'm not that far in.
I've heard The Sims is pretty popular.
Yeah, it is pretty popular. And if you want to play it, that's all you.
I don't know. I don't know if I do or not.
You don't.
Mostly, I think I'd rather play Second Life.
Ooh,
kidding. Nobody wants to play Second
Life. Nobody plays Second Life.
That's true. That's true. You have to live it.
Well, I'm just going to make some comment. It's hard to play video games one-handed. I mean, anyway, Joe,
so
tell me about
my
WoW.
Gaming has been pretty binary. Monster Hunter and WoW. Like it's either or.
Joe, gaming exists on a spectrum.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry to not be progressive enough.
So,
I've been playing WoW and Monster Hunter a little bit less actually on the Monster Hunter front, but we'll get there. Just been playing WoW. Ray Team finally got down the final boss. We got our ahead of the curve achievement. That was a long,
which is killing it before a certain time.
Before they nerf it.
Before it becomes easy and everybody can do it.
Yeah, the pre-patch before the next expansion it always nerfs the end boss.
Right.
Heroic.
And then
actually on all levels,
it's the plebeian achievement.
It's like, hey, guess what? You actually did this while it was hard. So congratulations. Here's your achievement.
Go ahead and feel elite.
Well, and now I can get into those elitist groups that are like, hey, if you want to jump into our team, like you got to link your ahead of the curve achievement. So I can just be like, okay, fine, that's done. Here you go.
Right.
And I was able to do that last night, in fact. I was able to link my Ahead of the Curve achievement, and then no questions asked, bam, get the invite.
So if you can just buy a carry.
Yeah, get a carry, get that Ahead of the Curve early.
Oh, also I need your logs from that fight.
Seriously. Like checking no, there's a new thing. It's called, what was it called? Raider.io. It is a site, super legit. It's kind of your barrier to entry into Mythic Plus now.
Oh no.
It is unfortunate.
Is it like the group finder for Destiny?
Yes. Sort of. It's not a group finder. It's a tool that ranks you based on your experience and how well you do in raids and Mythic Pluses.
Gotcha.
And it tells you can at a glance see if they are not scrubs, and you can tell like what their highest Mythic Plus is, what their ranking for their class and role that they're playing is.
Really?
It is an impressive amount of information, and is actually really cool as a tool for finding people who because they have made Mythic Plus so punishing at a high level that if someone is toxic and they bounce, you're screwed. You can't finish. Like, it eats your keystone, it gets downgraded.
Yeah.
You have lost your progress on that stone. You have to redo the
previous
level, and you have to wait, and we have to wait for that like timer to run out before you can even mess with it again.
Really?
Yeah, it's Mythic Plus is an interesting beast, and it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
It has its own meta, it has its own everything along with it. And it's only a 5-man group, and it's as difficult, if not more difficult, than raiding.
Which I found fascinating. I did.
Yeah,
I love the idea of that.
And you can get as good a rewards out of it. So
cool.
It's super delightful. But anyway, I finally got the last boss down. Get back on track here.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's always feels good to get that last boss. This one felt easier.
Okay.
Easier than some of the other
not that you got
previous end bosses on Heroic.
Not that you feel like you're getting better. I mean, that's always a thing, but you just feel like this one is like you could feel
definitely a little both. Like tighter team, getting better, like with a better group for sure than I was in previous attempts on raiding. Since our team broke up a while ago. Yeah. While we were on taking breaks from the game. Yeah. This team's been good and solid. And it's been fun running.
Nice. And now I understand you've become somewhat class fluid.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So, and that kind of goes along with some changes. Like part of our team restructuring. We split from the old group and are starting new with a little bit of a tighter group. And we found that we didn't have all of the normal stuff that you would need for a raid team, and I'm like
heroism.
Like heroism, the main buff that you have to use on every boss fight. We don't have it. We don't have a shaman. We don't have a mage.
Sad.
And so I happened to have a mage that was just hit max level. So I've started gearing it up. But I don't like mages.
Mages, not even once.
I don't like mage. And they're actually terrible right now.
Oh.
They're terrible.
Shamans are good. You should shaman.
Shamans are unreal right now.
I love my enhanced shaman.
And
at least I did when I was...
It's likely what I will actually change to if I change, if I need to. We have other people who are like thinking about like maybe switching to shaman healing, that kind of thing. Rather than,
okay.
So it may not be necessary for me to do it, but it's always good to have more than one person with that.
Right, because sometimes things happen and people are dead.
People die.
Like, okay, quick, Onk and you use your resurrect on yourself.
Yeah, res yourself.
Hit hero, and then we don't care what you do.
Go ahead and die again. But no, actually, that's kind of an interesting thing. I had mages and hunters. Yeah. Pure DPS classes. Yeah. So they don't have multiple roles or a lot of utility.
Right.
And they're absolutely like middle to lower end of the pack as far as their output goes.
Which I kind of enjoy a class like that because the people who are good at their class will still rise.
No, I'm talking like best in the world, top rankings.
Yeah.
You don't see.
But on your average team, someone who is exceptional at their class, there are
sure.
ceilings. There are places they can get. I'm not going to argue it's all mechanics because I know that's somewhat of a sore spot with you, but because gear does matter and balancing matters and these things matter. But
definitely.
There is something.
Well, this is where like the problem now is these guys that are only doing DPS are not very good at DPS.
Right.
Like,
which is probably something they're going to rebalance here in the next little bit
with the next expansion, I'm sure.
Right. Well, they put it out.
They have said that
6-8 weeks beforehand or something like that.
Yeah, typically a couple months.
Yeah.
Actually, no. It's usually about. It's really short. It's like a month. You get a month of messing around with the new.
Like I said, I remember the one time I remember it happening. I remember playing around with a couple classes, and then we took a month break as a team.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it was about 6 or so weeks.
It's been so long since the last expansion came out. I always forget. It's pretty interesting. And so seeing that the mages are terrible.
Yeah.
And which is
mages are always terrible. Even when they're fantastic, they're terrible.
At least you would think a DPS class would put out
never mage.
Good damage.
Never mage.
Never mage. It's true. And finding that out, I'm just like, wow. Like I thought I was playing because I'm playing a Shadow Priest, and they are notorious for being pretty bad.
Yes.
And they're great in this raid.
Right.
Not as good as Affliction Warlock, sadly, because Affliction Warlock right now is completely broken. They need no healing.
It's 0 to 60 with those guys, isn't it? They cannot balance that class.
Yeah, it is. Affliction Warlock is crazy right now, and it's going to get nerfed because they are invincible.
Nice.
Yeah, and apparently Demonology is back on top of the pack.
Interesting.
As like the high end guys can do really well with it, but it's probably going to get nerfed as well. Warlock's not getting any love, but anyway. Shamans right now, fantastic. Enhanced Shamans are one of the highest single target DPS in the game, if not the highest.
And it's a fun class to play because there's a certain.
I may be going with that. We'll see.
From my brief return, it's nice to see that it has that feel. It's very fast. It plays the way Death Knight played when I started playing. I like the fast almost reactionary class where you have kind of a rotation, but as certain things are proccing or you can use certain skills to kind of not force procs, but put enhance the chance of a proc to happen. So you're kind of trying to weight procs in your favor. So you're going, okay. I'm going to use this cooldown, and I'm your Wind Fury or whatever it is. Doom Winds is what it is, to make you more likely to get the procs that you need to do burst things. And when things just start popping, you can't hit buttons fast enough. But even when that's not happening, there's an optimum. I need to keep these things up while doing this, and okay, none of these are going, so I guess I'll hit this instead. And just this kind of reacting to where you are in the minute, but you have to do it quickly. I really enjoyed that. That's what I liked about Frost DK when it played like that, and which is also when Warlocks were broken in Siege. I really enjoyed metering or beating our Warlock on the meter and being like, dude, I've technically got an inferior class. What's your excuse? And then, he always had a dozen excuses, and that was always kind of the fun part.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit of satisfaction. It wasn't about beating the other person, but it kind of was always about beating the other person.
It's always about being up on the meter.
Look at that little that meter. My meter's longer than your meter. What's up?
The EP.
Yeah, that's not what I said.
What that is.
But that's what that is.
That's what that is.
Like, look,
there's a word for it. Yeah.
I don't know if you'd call that a word.
Okay, anyhow, it's not really
anything else in the WoW neighborhood that we need to be aware of.
I don't think so. There's nothing that new. I mean, we did talk about the new expansion come in. Starting to see some of those allied races show up. Looking forward to more of those as we get closer to the into the expansion. I guess they're going to release a bunch more. We know about 4 for each faction right now,
right?
And I think they're supposed to release an additional 6 or more.
And these are all going to be subclasses.
Allied races or sub races, because sub races kind of a negative connotation.
Skills. Yeah, didn't think of that. But if they weren't inferior, they would have been in the game long. No, not going to finish that.
But no, it seems cool. I think they're going to be a whole bunch by the end of this next expansion. They said they were planning to release quite a few.
We can't figure out what else to put in the game, so we're just going to put a bunch of
start stacking.
Weird skins are so popular.
Now you can basically I think they're just coming around to where people have talked about being these other NPCs that clearly have gear on, and you could. Run around as a walrus man and stuff like that would be rad.
You do see where this ends, though, right? This ends with loot boxes, cosmetic appearances. And WoW.
They've never done that. I don't know why they would change to it at this point.
Because of the $3 billion that Activision made in 2017 or whatever it is.
Says you have to have loot boxes.
And everything. Now. Yeah, we don't care that EA nearly burned themselves down on that hill.
If it's purely cosmetic, I don't know. I think some of that can be interesting. I wouldn't mind if there were like weird cosmetic random rewards out of loot
Well,
boxes.
you could argue there kind of is in the legacy stuff because you have pets and you have transmogs, and they've kind of done that.
Yeah, but it's not random. It's not a loot box.
It's not a loot
if
box.
If you're going to pay for any of that stuff, you know you're paying for that pet or that mount,
right?
Or that helmet. In the case of those weird experimental cosmetic only,
they must not have sold a lot
helmets.
because they didn't push that very much, which I appreciate.
$40.
And you still every once in a while see somebody wearing them.
See them.
And you just laugh.
There's like 2 of them that are kind of cool,
but not worth $40.
Not worth $40. A helmet.
Yeah,
like that's insane.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it would be interesting, but I don't think WoW is that game that much anymore. It's kind of lost the role play part.
It has
in a lot of ways. So the cosmetic thing is more of just an aside at this point. Transmogging.
I think this looks cool.
That you do. You pick the one like set that you like. There's some people still rock whatever's current. I personally these days, like even though I collect the transmog gear, I don't change my transmog.
Well, your transmog on your druid is super good.
Yeah, it's an old challenge mode set from Pandaria, and it's fabulous. It's the best druid set that exists in the game. For a Worgen, I should say.
For a Worgen.
For a Worgen. It doesn't look great on everybody, but...
Right. The DK challenge mode set looks dumb on a Worgen.
I'm sure it does, yeah. It's hard to get any plate armor to look good on some of the character models.
On the Worgen, it is tough.
Yeah,
I worked hard on that.
Being a wolf man and having your head all stretching out.
They should have
armor. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Do they have an invisibility transmog thing yet?
Oh, where you can just ignore
a
slot? Yes, you can just do that in the transmog system now. You can just say,
maybe I should start doing that if I ever come back.
Yeah, just don't have a helmet. Like, don't show helm, don't show cloak, don't show shoulders.
I found a leather eye patch that worked really good on my rogue.
Yeah,
that looked real cool.
Yep, that's an easy one though.
Yeah,
it doesn't get deformed.
Yeah,
when sticking a giant head into
a long snout
into a helmet that was designed for a human head.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, WoW's still WoW. Like it is my city's skyline when I don't.
It's your comfort food.
Yeah, I can just jump in. I can fish. I can pick herbs, and make potions and stuff. It's just kind of like
pick herbs, makes potions, huh?
Yeah,
like that.
That's how I roll.
Move to Colorado, huh?
Well, my dude is a druid and an alchemist, so.
Oh yeah, he must smell terrible.
It's my RP. I just RP as
a burnt out hippie.
As a burnout hippie. Wolfman.
And then they take away the RP servers.
Though if one of these allied races can druid, I might switch.
Here's the thing: is I would probably if they could do.
It's always a weird thing. I love the Worgen. The racial is great. You get an extra speed boost.
I think it's great.
And
I wish they would make a shaman, Worgen shaman. It makes sense. It makes sense.
I think it's going to happen eventually.
Well, I mean, eventually everything's
going to get rid of like a lot of those restrictions.
Gnome hunters. I mean,
yeah, they've got gnome hunters now, which is super cool. But when I can be a gnome druid, then we're talking. And all their animal forms
are like
tiny,
like kittens and
kitten, a puppy, and
do they have like a small bird with barely any wings?
Pepe.
Oh. See, that'd be stacking the decks. Like all druids will be gnomes now.
All druids will have the coolest stuff ever.
Yeah,
druid gnome. That would be amazing. Yeah, your flight form is just Pepe.
I think that's probably that.
just
now that you mention it, maybe the reason they haven't done a gnome druid is
because
like
it would skew. Everyone would
like,
have it,
and everybody would just be this thing.
Would be doing it. Druid's still super cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, that would be a lot of fun if they pulled something like that.
I always liked that the Tauren druid, when you go cat form, you have the horns.
The horns
still.
All of their forms have horns.
Like the bird has horns.
Everything has horns.
That's really cool.
And I hope it's weird moose antlers when the High Mountain Tauren come in. I hope they do change that, because then you'll
I'm coming back and rolling horde.
Just moose antlers on everything. It would be super awesome. Because I don't know that they will, though. That's a little. It's a little thing, though. They might.
Here's the thing: is I like the fact that
the horn. They have the bull horns on everything.
Speaking of little things, I was I can't remember if it was when I was at Comic-Con San Diego, or if it was something I saw on a stream someplace. But someone got up one of these Q&As with the Blizzard guys, and she was just like, "So, in this one zone, when you put out this patch, all the chairs moved like 45 degrees. Are you guys going to fix that?" And they went, "What?"
That's really weird.
And they're like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "No, all the chairs moved 45 degrees in this place. Do you have any plans to fix that?" They're like, "We didn't even know that happened." So like all the chairs in one zone moved. They didn't even know.
That's insane.
And they're like, "Can you like
but then
report
of course,
that?"
Somebody who holds their weird little RP group in this tavern.
I believe it was somebody doing cosplay. So
yeah, it's like, wait, suddenly like we can't like when we sit, we're
it just
not even
feels
facing
weird.
the table anymore.
How will I do our Wow That 70s Show skit anymore?
Oh, that's genius. Oh man, I don't know. I'm kind of sad that like that kind of stuff doesn't exist anymore.
Time and place, man. Time and place.
I
They all went to Second Life in VR chat.
all of the what machinima videos.
I like machinima.
Machinima.
What do you want to write in my machinima? Oh, that's... Anyway.
Oh man.
But yes.
yeah, like that kind of a thing using those in-game assets.
Admittedly,
it's kind of a cool thing. And
99% of it's super cringy though. Super bad.
But it's still,
the stuff that's
still
good is
cool.
amazing.
Yeah. Like you gotta wade through the you got a Shawshank Redemption that.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is I still haven't figured out how to come out clean on the other side.
He did come out clean on the other side. It
Yeah,
can't
but
be all bad.
No one else has.
No one ever.
No one else. We're all scarred on the inside.
Oh man. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a reason why they find him on a beach nowhere near any other humans at the end of that.
It's just like I can't ever go back.
Yeah, right.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like we're wrapping up this expansion now that the new one's coming out. It's all just gonna be grinding and finishing up achievements for the rest of the game.
Okay, cool.
Until the new till the new X-Pack comes out.
And then expect a lot of WoW chat when that happens.
When that new X-Pack, yeah, definitely.
Don't know how I feel about it. Don't know if I'll jump back in. It kind of depends on me and my life circumstances as much as anything else. But you know,
WoW is WoW.
WoW remains the same.
Yep.
It's only the people that change.
Yes, so true.
Anyway, so let's get into we have more stuff after, I should say. We were planning to chat on a few things after.
All right, everyone steal yourselves.
Right, the Monster Hunter
Get ready
resumes,
for the Monster Hunter minute.
Resumes again. So where are you at, Joe? What are you feeling?
I've actually been playing a bit less.
Right.
Having jumped back into WoW and the guild split and everything, and trying to like farm up things has taken away some of my Monster Hunter time. But yeah, we kind of, I mean, we've seen credits.
Yeah, we've
seen credits.
We've completed the campaign, both of them.
Yeah, sort of. It's now we're now into the end game, or at least the first stage of the end game.
We're fighting tempered monsters.
Yeah, they made
elder dragons,
making everything really hard. And
yeah,
it's very min-maxy if you're familiar with the term.
It's running the low level tempered stuff to get the tempered rewards, to get better gems, to then build
that have more and more
of the stats
and affixes on them.
To then fight higher level tempered monsters.
This game has become something.
Yeah,
like as each of these stages that we've completed, the difficulty just jumps.
It does. It is for real
in a weird, like kind of extreme way. It's a little shocking. I'm at a point now where it's like, oh wow, like everything's very hard now.
Yeah, it doesn't same amount of life, but hits harder.
You have to be so on point. And now that I'm realizing it's like a different level of play than I was prepared for.
Right. There's a lot of, this thing hits you. You're now stunned or locked up just enough that if you don't have a frame perfect roll at the end of this, you're going to get hit again, and likely that's going to chain and kill you.
And frame perfect is not a joke.
Yeah,
there are things that can help your evade window be a little wider, but
it
is essentially like fighting game level.
I did get a level 2 evasion gem for that.
Nice.
I think I've got that on one of my pieces of gear.
But I was looking at that longsword play, and because I'm thinking of switching from Inside Glaive to just doing something else a little to mix it up, you know.
Oh, along those lines, they actually put out a patch and they buffed heavy bowgun.
Interesting.
A few of the
did they buff it in that it doesn't blow away your teammates while they're trying to fight?
No, that's just part of the gameplay.
People hate that gun.
Well, what they did, they reduced the effect of slicing ammo. So slicing ammo does that less, and I think they kind of tuned down the damage a little bit, but 3 or 4 different damage types like normal ammo, piercing ammo, those got a buff in how much damage they do. That's awesome. So I might actually dust off my old heavy bowgun and see how that goes.
That would be cool to have back, because we did in our group runs, we distinctly lack range.
Yeah, and it would be nice to be able to plink something in the air. I was fiddling around with bow, but I don't know. And now
doesn't feel right.
Yeah, now that I've been playing with the radial menu more, now I have learned since you said
it
you've
is
done
a
that
lifestyle.
It is. Well, there's one of those straight for ammo.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, maybe that'll be better for me because managing ammo sucks.
Well, and then once you get used to it, it's literally you're just flicking a stick. You flick a stick in a direction and it does everything for you.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Really good.
Sorry, I did kind of cut you off there.
Yeah, so looking at longsword and realizing a very key part of the longsword play is you have this fade slash.
Yes, I've seen that. That's great.
Where you move. But it also comes along with a very specific invincibility frame that you have. And you can see it trigger, you'll like light up blue if you get hit during your invincibility window. And you have to actually use that as your evasion for everything at the higher end stuff.
Right.
I'm looking at it.
Because you can react. Wow. It's like a parry, right?
Sort of. It can be. You can do it in multiple directions, back, forward, but it also has a gameplay relevant portion of it in that it maintains your level of charge on your spirit meter.
Okay.
So, and it also allows you to skip ahead, essentially, instead of your normal combo builds up spirit.
Yeah.
This allows you to basically skip 3 or 4 inputs.
Oh, nice.
On your spirit meter. And I'm seeing that is kind of a common thing now with a lot of the way the weapon play styles work.
Have you been watching people do this?
I've been watching a number of different people doing weapon guides because that's this kind of game.
Yeah,
just the weapon guide. Just because I'm kind of interested in seeing like what the depth in each of the weapons are before I really commit to something else. Right. So I've been looking through a bunch of different stuff and trying to figure out, hey, what's your
high level weapon?
Yeah, what do I want to keep switching to? Glaive is great. I love the insect glaive. Super awesome, very fun play style. But I also feel like I can see its weaknesses now as well. Yeah. Like everything kind of has like certain fights where it's just not as good on. Right. And I want to be able to be a bit more well-rounded. Also, so when I'm going to hunt something specific, I have a better weapon to hunt that. Because there's a lot of times like with some of the smaller, lower to the ground monsters, you can't get all the buffs you need to really like shine.
Because hitting the right parts of the body is
hit the right part of the body, and some of them just have a very tight window, and it makes it less fun because you're not smacking a monster when you're trying to collect your buffs. You end up with a lot of downtime on monsters that are difficult to paint.
Yeah.
So when I know I'm going to go up against, say, like Tobi Kadachi or a Great Gyros, or Gyros, however you say his name.
Great Gyro?
The Great Gyro. Yes, I like that. Now I'm hungry. But monsters like that are very difficult to fight with the glaive. They're not difficult per se, but hard to optimize on.
Right. You're going to get through it. You're still going
to win. It's just not going to be as fast or as efficient.
Right. This is almost a game that's like you want to almost not speed run everything, but you kind of want to be speed running everything.
Yeah. There's definitely a time efficiency. Like there are certain times where I'll go in and fight, and I'm just like, oh man, I wish I had a different thing for this. Like, I feel like this is not very optimal.
Which is
especially some of the flying ones. Like, I can see that when I have messed around with the longsword a little bit. Yeah. As soon as it's like a flying monster.
Kushala Daora or any of those.
Or Legiana was the one I was.
Legiana is a good example.
Oh my gosh, this is almost impossible.
Same thing. I really love the dual blades, but the moment Legiana takes off, it's like, I wish I had my heavy bowgun. This guy's a jerk.
There's certain fights where I'm just like, oh well, I want to take something good in.
Right.
And so I'm feeling the need to like become proficient in a second different style.
Right, and I kind of want to do that, like have a well, and also when we get into if we want to start doing arena stuff, it's set loadouts. And so it's like, so the weapon you can take for this is a charge blade, a switch axe, a heavy bow gun, or a bow, and that's it.
Which is interesting. It adds a level of like, you need to be proficient with
also it locks
other
what
things.
Upgrade level it is. It's not your gear. It gears you and all that stuff. I played around with that a little bit, and that's kind of interesting. So I want to have a working knowledge of a number of weapons, but be good with master at least 2.
At least 2. I'm thinking like I want to get like the glaive is kind of a weird in between.
Right.
It's a fast weapon and it has some very specific stuff that it can do. But I want something that hits heavy, which is why I'm like toying around with the horn.
Oh, the horn is cool.
The horn is a weird one in that you're using this giant bagpipe to smack monsters.
And it's also a hammer.
And also a hammer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a hammer. And it's huge.
Yeah.
And it beats the crap out of stuff, but you also can play it to give your entire group buffs.
Right.
And like it heals, attack up.
And from what I've read, I hear people talking about, they all, like, here's the thing is, from a distance, I respect the hunting horn. And everybody seems to be like, oh, you'll know you have a good hunting horn player when you're doing this. And you see all these things, they're looking at what everybody's doing. And, if you're on mic, you're calling out what you need. And they're like, all right, I got you. And they're keeping buffs up. It's like the ultimate support class. But then I also saw a video of somebody just stun locking a Rathalos. And then stopping sharpening and keeping it stun locked. And you're like, what is going on?
It's some high level play.
It's amazing and it's great.
Yeah, it makes that seem really interesting to me because some of the other heavy hitters like the hammer or
that spin move on the hammer is amazing.
It's so good. I want it, but I also don't want it. Like I don't want to do it myself. I like that it's there, but it's not really my play.
We have to convince somebody to play.
We need somebody to play hammer,
right?
But yeah, like the horn seems like it can kind of fill that role, but it also has like the very support aspect.
Right. It does the blunt damage or whatever it is. So you can you get that person up front, smacking the monster in the head and dizzying them.
Yeah,
constantly.
You're essentially a tank and a healer,
right?
And it's kind of cool.
Right, and the different hits that you do also is what cues up the notes in the hunting horn.
Each of your swings is actually you playing a note.
Right.
And you can bank the tunes themselves,
or you can encore them, and it's
a weird thing.
If you look up any guides to it, you're just like, what is this?
Yeah, it seems a little bit more challenging to pick up, which is why I'm interested. Honestly,
people say the charge blade is the most challenging weapon in the game, but the most daunting one is the hunting horn. As far as I'm concerned, I look at the hunting horn, I go, yeah, more power to anybody who learns that.
The only thing I'm disappointed about with the horn,
yes,
they're all super boring looking. There's a couple that look cool, like one, maybe two that look cool.
Well,
that's the only part of it that I'm like a little less excited about. But
yeah, I guess they do that to keep all the people who just like the flashy stuff away because you don't want flashy players on your hunting horn.
True. Yeah, that's kind of a thing.
It's your romantic versus classical thinking. Form over function.
Yeah.
Function being like, no, I don't care what the horn looks like. I am going to be good at the horn. I know I'm doing my job. You don't want very romantic form. Has to look pretty kind of people playing hunting horn.
It's like I like to play bards.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to be a bard player. Yeah, it's super interesting. I'm still like fascinated by the depth that this game continues
to offer. Yeah,
continues to offer, and it keeps stepping it up multiple times,
and from unexpected directions as well.
Also true. Yeah, this new level of like almost fighting game level. Like you gotta watch your combos and your actual button presses and when you can skip certain combo points in the combo, or skip a charge level,
and
that kind of thing is just fascinating.
I was looking at the bow, and the bow's simple on the face of it, but to optimize your play, it's like there's actually like a dash move where you sidestep but immediately gives you a single charge level on your bow. So by playing a good evasion game, you can actually get your bow charged up to max pull very quickly, but you're managing your stamina, so you can't just it's
got some depth to it that was just wholly unexpected, even though we played in the beta and have been like consuming Monster Hunter for some time now.
Right. That's what happens when you're the new guy to the thing. You're like, you guys, you see how deep this goes? This rabbit hole goes for days.
It's crazy. I'm well over the 100-hour mark now.
Yes, I also have crossed it. I won't say well over, but let's say comfortably over.
Oh man!
But here's the thing is like, and going back to playing City Skyline was a nice coming up for air moment. I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to start seeing other games. But at the same time, it's like the Diablo season ends here pretty soon, and at that point, we'll probably check out that when the new one starts.
I don't know how I'm feeling.
But
I may not be ready to jump back into Diablo.
Well, the Monster Hunter has kind of supplanted it in my mind.
It has at this point.
Well, especially because
I don't really need two of those going on.
DLC updates coming out throughout the year.
Right. So we're going to have more.
We have Devil Joe's coming up, and
more to look at as we're still like just barely starting the end game. So
right. All right. And
who knows what else we're going to see as we get into more.
And they might actually they've toyed around because I guess in other games, like in the Generations game, they had low rank, high rank, G rank.
Right.
So they've said they haven't written off the idea of adding like another rank to the game, but they're just not doing it yet. If they do, they'll patch it in. So there might even be a whole nother level of difficulty that has yet to even be in the game.
I'm glad. I'm glad this game has been as good as it is.
Yeah.
I'm glad something on console
and
has kind of a Diablo thing that I'm way into.
And we have got we're kind of skating through it to a point, but it's interesting. We've now hit the point that early, like was it today, yesterday. Anyway, when I was capping footage and doing some other stuff, I hit a moment of, oh, I'm not in the right mindset to be playing the difficulty I'm doing. I could go do other stuff. I could do in the game, or I can't push. Basically,
and that's part of why I'm not playing as much, because now it's like it requires a level of focus.
It's like pushing greater rifts. It's like, okay, I now need to be on my game way better.
It's less of just like, oh, I'm just gonna jump on this and spam.
Yeah, I'll get through it eventually.
It's got to be way more calculated, way more
right.
Perfect.
And I could jump into like multiplayer games, and I'm like, I will do for lower level stuff or to grind stuff, but to push where I'm at, I want to make sure that I'm not the problem if I jump into a multiplayer group.
Yeah,
I'm feeling the personal responsibility for this game.
That's something that they do not mince about at all. Like, you have hard limits on how many times you can die.
3 feints, and on
the hard guys.
And here's the thing: is like I oh man, what was it? I was trying to cap a Black Diablos, and I had rocked it. Got it to like it ran away. Got to the last area, and was just about ready to cap, not quite ready to capture. Otherwise, I would have done that and just be done with it, right? And I'm doing great. I'm like, all right, cool. Had a misstep, fainted. Shoot, whatever. Okay, did rebuff myself, whatever. Run back in, drop in, stun lock, fainted. I'm like, oh no! And the tide just turned on me. I actually didn't get it complete because I got my 3 feints in the spin. I've been doing it for 20 minutes,
go sideways,
and then about 4 minutes, I was done.
Yeah,
I had a bad stretch, and I was just like, "All right." The game's like, "No, you."
Yeah,
did you realize this is a Black Diablos?
You don't mess around.
You don't mess around here,
man. This game's fascinating, and I'm just still super pumped about it. We do need to get some kind of a feature together, and
and we were talking about that. Yes, I just don't know how interesting that's going to be, but we'll do something.
I mean, it'll let people actually see a lot of the stuff.
We'll sit there and talk through what we're doing.
We'll be like talking about what we're actually doing and what this game actually is.
I mean,
I know that we run B-roll all the time.
Yeah, the last 3-4 weeks or something. It's been
everyone's probably sick of it, but whatever.
But maybe we'll talk over it and have it be that. But anyway, so we are still infatuated with Monster Hunter.
Yeah, quite a bit.
But you hit me with something, and I demanded that you didn't tell me anything more.
I know very little about it,
but hit me.
They're making a Mario movie,
and despite the fact that the last Mario movie was what made Nintendo say we are never licensing anything for a movie ever.
Well, this time it's animated.
Animated or anime?
No, not anime. It's the Illumination Studios, Despicable Me, and its ilk.
Okay.
Are doing it.
Familiar with the style.
And so, I mean, kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to be. This is like just announced, so I don't know a ton about it. I think Miyamoto said something, and that's about it. I don't know how they're going to do it, though. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about it, because I love that old Mario with John Leguizamo and
but
Bob
ironically,
no, I genuinely enjoyed it. It came out I saw it pretty early on, right when it came out. I was young.
Okay,
it was fine.
It was before you could discern what bad was. And
I mean, I know it's a bad movie.
Well, see, that's the thing is like there's things from my childhood that I know are, I won't say objectively bad, but you're arguably bad, but I still enjoy them.
Right. Yeah, and that's definitely the case with Mario.
Okay.
I think it's fantastic. It's definitely not true to that IP at all.
Oh, not at all.
In any way.
Which kind of what works for it in the way that it doesn't. Anyway.
Yeah, the cast is great. I think they had a kind of an amazing cast for that that turd of a movie.
And you hear the behind the scenes stuff, and it's just.
It seems crazy.
It's a madhouse.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it was cool to see back then. I have a lot of fond memories for it. I know that isn't really going to play into this at all. I just don't know how you do a Mario movie where your protagonist says 3 things.
It's a me.
It's a me. Let's go. And laugh. Yeah, that's Mario.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to be going on and on about how do you make that not sound ridiculous?
He turns into like Shakespearean soliloquies and monologues, and
Kenneth
you're like,
Branagh
what?
as Mario.
Oh gosh, Mario giving the to be or not to be.
No.
All right.
No.
Yeah.
I assume they're going to have to do it like they've kind of done with other Mario games where Peach talks or Toad talks.
He's the silent protagonist.
Yeah, Mario is very much a silent protagonist, and then to base a movie around that, it's a little rough.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason Hulk movies don't do well.
Right.
Like, your silent protagonist
He's good. He's good to play off other characters
if there's enough supporting cast
Right.
that can carry that
and
well.
give him depth and give him meaning.
I don't know.
But yeah.
And maybe that's what it is. It's the Mario in quotes world. You know, it's more about just like the ensemble than just Mario.
Do you really
himself.
want like Mario running around, Mario and Luigi, both of them not talking, and then like a toadstool running around and giving them like be doing all the like the annoying like Rob Schneider and Judge Dredd style talking? Is that really what you want?
Oh man, I don't.
Sorry, that made a bit of a tough question, right?
Not tough necessarily, but it's like, show me what you got. You know,
Okay.
Show me what you got. If it's good, it's good. They have done some. I enjoyed like Despicable Me 1 was actually pretty good. I haven't seen like Boss Baby, but it's getting a lot of buzz. People seem to say that it's much better than it has any right to be.
Fair enough.
So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. They're also making another Grinch animated flick. Same
Really?
studio, yeah. So they're doing well. They're making money.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens as we see more come out about a Mario movie. I just don't know how you do it at this point.
Yeah. Well,
especially and make it entertaining.
They must have had an amazing pitch though that said we want to do this, and Nintendo went yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had a vertical slice that they just sent to Nintendo and went, "What do you think?"
Maybe.
I wonder how they get there because Nintendo were very vocal. Like this is a bad
you
movie.
remember the cartoon, the Mario Super Show?
Yeah,
that was terrible.
It was
horrible.
With Link on Fridays.
Oh, jeez. And to try and do that now in a film format is so weird.
Got to diversify, man.
I guess. I mean, when you don't sell enough cardboard to children, I guess you got to try and snag that that cinema money. I don't know.
What are the things? The Amiibos not doing it for them?
I guess. I mean, Toys to Life was a bust. Let's try selling.
Yeah, let's face it.
Let's try selling paper.
Okay, well, Skylanders was kind of a flash in the pan. It was a fad. It was a time and place sort of thing, not a flash in the pan.
And I think we'll look back on it as such. I think we'll all recognize that is the case.
Yeah, but man, it made a lot of money while it did.
I mean, I think it still does.
Really?
I think it still does. They're the wow of Toys to Life.
Because
they're the only
burned.
one. Infinity burned to
is
the ground.
Lego one still going?
Amiibos is not really a thing.
The Lego
Dimensions is so new. I don't know if that's
it's been
done.
around. It's the
newest of.
It feels like every time I walk through like a Walmart or something, it seems like there's more of them, but I don't know if it's like more new products because I'm not really paying. It's like they've got all these franchising deals, but I'm like, why would you put that with Legos?
Yeah, Toys to Life is a weird space.
It is a weird space.
It was a thing that everyone was like, oh well, let's all.
There's a part of my brain that
screams
screams heresy every single time I see it.
I really loved Infinity. Like the game itself was terrible, but the figures were fabulous.
Oh, the figures looked amazing. It was really cool.
I'm sad that it's that we're not going to see any more of the cool Infinity style.
Right,
stuff.
I was tempted when I saw them going for like $3 or $4. I'm like, I should buy a bunch of them.
Get a couple of them because they're cool looking.
But then again, I'm not the guy that has stuff on his desk, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not that person.
I've got my buddy Christ sitting right there in the center of my desk.
Which is great.
I've got all kinds. I've got a random little like metal R2-D2.
I mean, I have my shelf of...
I'm all about weird tchotchkes on my desk.
See, I'm not on my desk. I have my shelf of Gundam models and like Sigmar models that I'm painting. I got that Imperial Knight painted up there. You know, That's
different though. That's display case quality.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think I need an Amiibo in a display case. Like
people do.
I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying I don't need it.
But don't treat it like it's your art or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of like that.
It's limited edition.
It's limited.
Well, I do custom paints on my Gunpla, so
And that's cool.
And so that makes it limited edition.
That stuff's cool. And that is stuff that you built.
It's fun.
You built, you painted. Like, that's something you want to show off, definitely. How much I spend on a statue. I like statues, but I like
the concept of them. I'm not the type that it would have to be something I either one really, really love, and
I have one statue that I've purchased.
Yeah.
And it's that Gundam one from Rec G.
Oh, right. I saw. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
See,
because Rec G holds a very special place in my heart.
I think you say you have issue with trolls, but like you kind of do. Like there's a trolling part of that.
There is a very trollish part of the whole thing. I actually do enjoy it. Like, I mean,
like unironically,
unironically, I do enjoy it quite a bit. I do understand that it's like Waterworld or Mario Brothers movie, like. These things that are terrible and or like just not great.
I'd say not great. It's like as a Gundam series, it didn't stand up to a Gundam series, which is saying something.
Right.
Because Gundam series are not.
It's a very like out of that mold. It's not.
Right.
It's not part of that standard mold of a Gundam series.
It's like let's put this name on this. What could have been any other anime, but just
almost yeah.
Yeah,
there's like a handful of throwaway lines that actually tie it to the Gundam universe,
right? And then
some of the shapes of the Gundam themselves are like reminiscent of older Gundam. But yeah, it's animated differently. It takes place in kind of a way different scope. Yeah, tonally, it's very different.
And kind of like a nonsensically like for
Gundam
so. Saying it's nonsensical is kind of like that's saying something in its own right.
Pardon our weeb, but like.
there's no excuse for our weeb.
There's no excuse. But yeah, it's and for whatever reason, it kind of charmed me in a way that a lot of the other Gundam series have not.
I maintain. I love that you love it.
That's
what I could say.
I appreciate it, but that was enough to get me to like actually purchase a statue for that. Though it's still in the box and is kind of just like in a cupboard,
right?
Because I don't have a display case yet. Once I do, I will. I'll totally display my Gundam and everything. Like right now, they're all just kind of on a pile on a windowsill.
I have my situation is not. It's my display is not optimum. So,
sure.
Yeah. But I
few
I
things
know
in life are optimum.
Fair enough.
But that was we have stretched quite a ways from our initial talk of Mario movies.
It did kind of go, didn't it? And then kind of just to wrap it up, I did. You know, we always kind of like we were struggling to think of like what we're excited for the coming year, and then I saw something during this week. It was like, oh right, Red Dead 2 is supposed to come out, and they did it. Here's the thing: is that they did that yacht. That's always kind of a really is Red Dead 2 is going to be a prequel, which makes sense for when they placed it because the Red Dead Redemption was kind of the end of the Old West is the setting.
Interesting phrasing where they placed it, like. If you're going to tell a prequel story, it's going to be a prequel.
Right. But, but the fact that Red Dead Redemption was an end of the Old West kind of tale, but they're like, oh, shoot, this actually was really popular.
I don't know anything about Red Dead. I have not played it. I own it. I have not played it.
Like, you can get one of the pistols you can get towards the end is it's like basically a 1911 style magazine-fed
interesting
kind of gun. And, you see there's a car. There's a single automobile in the game.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was that late.
But it's still frontier. It's It's like there's one city that is very much up and coming, not really any longer a frontier town, but has some of the feel from it. But then you ride out to some places and it's still old. It's still ranches.
I really need to play that game.
You absolutely do. There's
a reason I bought it.
Yeah,
I heard all the buzz back in the day, and I was like, oh, I need to play Red Dead.
Yeah, it's one of those that I'm just like, I deeply adore. This
it seems really cool. I do love Old West stuff,
and the way they do some of the things that they do in it. But what was another thing that this kind of reminded me was also that it had a multiplayer.
Weird.
Well, it was cool because basically it was the entire map from the game, the open world.
I would want it to be just poker.
You could play poker in it.
Multiplayer?
Yeah, you just walk up to the table. You walk up to the same table. You sit down and play.
That's fantastic.
There's also was it Dead Man Dice, and there's a couple of games you could play. But they had the open world was just a lobby that you spawned into, and you could spawn into other people's as a posse. You were playing as a posse, but all the actual critical NPCs were gone, but all the enemies were respawned. They're there. So you could go clear out bandit hideouts as a group.
I realize that had that kind of. I thought it was just a solo single player
or you could,
story.
Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic in that, but it also had this add-on multiplayer. You could unlock character. There was like a progression, unlocking mounts, and
that's
you could at one point you could ride a bull.
I didn't even realize.
You could unlock the bull mount, so you're riding a bull instead of a horse.
That's fantastic.
But also, and here's things: you could spawn into open maps instead of just doing a private group with your buddies. And so, like, oh, those guys, there's a posse out there. Clearing out a bandit hideout. Let's go kill them. So you could basically go out and kill each other, or you and your buddies could be standing out throwing knives at each other, which we did for way longer than we should have.
Insane people should.
Yeah. And just and then someone, usually me, would get bored and just throw a stick of dynamite and see if anybody noticed, and then it would blow up and kill like 3 people. We'd be like, oh, nobody noticed. But
right on.
Yeah, and then, so it was really a really neat experience.
When is that coming out?
I forget. Later this year.
Is it this year? Okay.
It's this year.
Because I know.
But here's my concern, though.
What?
Now, I haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5, but GTA Online I have heard about. And it is absolutely a free-to-play online game, as in I have had PlayStation Network and Steam advertising not the game, but the currency bundles, even though I don't own the game. They're like, hey, you should give us $100 and we'll give you the best value currency bundle, like the Megalodon. And I'm like, why would you even sell that to me? I haven't even played. What? Okay, sure, that's a thing.
That's really strange.
And apparently they've made a lot of money off of GTA Online. The people who are in on that. And they're still like kind of adding stuff to it. And that I have a sinking feeling that, I mean, I know Red Dead 2 is going to have that because it has that open world setting. They're just going to try and fill it with that. And I was like, here's this really cool thing that if they just put it in again would be neat, but that's not sustainable. So there's going to be a microtransaction system, and I'm kind of just already sad for that because I'm not nervous about the story, but I want to see what the story is supposed to be, because since it's supposed to be a prequel, a lot of people are like, wait, who's the main character? What's going on? And they may have revealed that already, and I just haven't seen it.
Oh, no, they did. It's not the same guy.
No, it wouldn't be, but
it's some other dude.
But he's going to be in it. John Marston's going to be in it.
Yeah, I hear he makes a cameo or something.
I mean, he's going to have to, because he's probably going to get, Dutch's gang is probably going to be in around. You're probably going to see the whole pack of dudes.
I don't know how any of it ties together.
Right. So we'll see. But I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. For Red Dead Redemption, I didn't watch anything on it until I was just kind of bored one day, and I was the day before Alan Wake came out. And Red Dead was coming out too. I'm like, let's watch some trailers, see what this is. And about 15, 20 minutes later, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to buy this game. And so, sure enough, I got myself hyped over 20 minutes the night before it came out. And so it was just kind of like, well, work tomorrow's going to suck. All right, well, that's over. Time to go buy Red Dead Redemption. And I just bought it and never regretted it. Plus, the DLC, the Undead Nightmare that they put out was superb. It was just stellar. It was fantastic. Anyway, I'm just ranting about how good Red Dead Redemption is and how I'm just hesitant with the market that we're in now. I don't know.
Well, I got to play it, so we'll have to figure something out.
Well, I mean, you'll play it. That's just the simplicity.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's kind of. I love how I keep promising that it's going to be like a short one, saying, "Hey, we don't have a lot," and
it goes longer than most. So.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy doing that. I think it's almost like calling the opposite of my shot. I just anyway. You got anything else, Joe?
No, I'm good. Doing good.
Well, thank you.
Looking forward to more WoW and more Monster Hunter.
Absolutely.
In the coming weeks.
And we're going to do recording some new stuff as well, so look forward to that. And thank you for joining us, as always. We'll be putting up some more content relatively soonish. Don't want to promise anything. And tune in next time for another episode of the Backcast.
Catch you guys later.
Bye.